All right, so looks like you're ready to boost your emotional intelligence.
That's right.
Awesome. You've sent over a ton of great material on EQ,
Yeah.
and we're going to take a deep dive into, how it really works
Right.
and more importantly, how to actually like boost yours.
Exactly.
We've all had those moments where
Right.
our emotions kind of get the best of us, right?
For sure.
Or we just,
Yeah.
can't seem to figure out where someone else is coming from.
Sure.
So this deep dive is going to help you crack that code.
I think it's interesting,
Yeah.
for so long,
Yeah.
we've been like hyper focused on IQ,
Right.
almost as if emotions were just this like
Yeah.
annoying side effect of being human.
Yeah. Yeah.
But think about it.
Yeah.
How many times has a purely logical decision, led you down the wrong path
Mm.
because you didn't factor in your gut feeling
Right.
or how the decision might impact
Yeah.
those around you?
Right.
That's EQ coming into play.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But where do we even begin?
Yeah.
The material mentions Daniel Goleman
Yeah.
and his 5 core components of EQ.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there.
Definitely. Goldman's work is like foundational
Right.
in the field of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
He lays out these 5 components
Yeah.
as self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation,
Okay.
empathy, and social skills.
Got it.
Think of them as the skills you need to master,
Mhm,
right?
okay.
To master your own emotions
Yeah.
and effectively navigate,
Right.
the social world.
Okay. Those are some
Big concepts.
pretty big concepts to unpack.
Yeah, yeah.
But luckily, our source breaks them down in a way that's
Oh, my
pretty
God.
easy to,
Easy to digest.
digest. Yeah. Let's start with self-awareness.
Okay.
It's interesting because on the surface, it seems simple, right?
Gotcha.
Just being aware of
Right.
your own emotions.
Right.
But I know I've definitely had moments where
Oh, for sure.
I'm reacting to something and I can't quite put my finger on why I'm feeling that way.
It happens to the best of us.
Right.
Self-awareness is more than just labeling your emotions as
Yeah.
happy or sad or angry.
Right.
It's about understanding the why behind those feelings.
Okay.
Why does that particular comment
Yeah.
from a coworker like trigger you?
Yeah.
What deeper insecurity or belief
Mm-hmm.
is fueling your reaction?
Yeah.
Our source gets into some practical techniques to help with this.
Okay. So things like journaling.
Right.
I'm a big fan of journaling anyway,
Yeah.
but I never really thought of it
Oh, okay.
as an EQ boosting tool.
It's surprisingly powerful.
Yeah.
Putting those feelings down on paper,
Right.
exploring what triggered them and
Uh-huh.
how you reacted
Right.
can reveal a lot
Okay.
about your emotional patterns.
Interesting.
And that's where growth begins, right?
Mm,
By recognizing those patterns,
yeah.
you can start to shift them.
Yeah.
Our source also talks about mindfulness
Okay.
and seeking feedback from others as ways to boost self-awareness.
So with mindfulness, it's about those practices
Yeah.
like meditation and deep breathing
Yeah.
that help you, be more present
Right.
and aware of your emotions.
Yeah, in real time.
In real time, I can see how that would be helpful, especially in those moments where you feel yourself like getting carried away by a strong emotion.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's like hitting the pause button
Right.
on your emotional autopilot
Right.
and choosing a more conscious response.
And then there's feedback.
Yeah.
It's interesting because sometimes we think we're coming across one way,
Yeah.
but are actually giving off
No.
completely different vibes.
I think we've all been there.
Right.
You think you're being like lighthearted and playful,
Yeah.
but your friend reads it as passive aggressive.
Right. Right.
Seeking feedback from people you trust
Mhm.
and who will be honest with you
Mm-hmm.
can be incredibly eye-opening.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we're like getting a handle on our emotions with self-awareness.
Right.
What's next?
Well, once you're aware of those emotions,
Yeah.
you need to learn how to
Right.
manage them.
Okay.
That's where self-regulation comes in.
Right.
It's not about suppressing
Okay.
or ignoring your feelings.
Right.
They can actually backfire.
So what does healthy self-regulation look like?
Think of it as choosing how you respond
Okay.
rather than just reacting.
Got it.
This section in our source is full
Hmm.
of practical tips.
Yeah.
Things like taking that classic count to 10 pause
Right.
before responding to something that's triggered you,
Right.
or reframing negative thoughts.
Oh, I love
Okay.
that. Reframing is so powerful.
It is.
Instead of getting stuck in that, like,
Yeah.
this is a disaster mindset,
Yeah,
it's about shifting your perspective to, okay, this is a challenge, but I can handle it.
Exactly. It's
Right.
not about denying reality.
All right.
It's about choosing a more empowering way to view it.
Right.
And sometimes self-regulation also involves finding healthy outlets
Okay.
to release like pent-up emotional energy.
Okay. So things like
Yeah.
hitting the gym, going for a run, or
Mm.
getting lost in a creative project
Yes,
can all play a role in self-regulation.
for sure.
I can definitely see how those things help me de-stress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about channeling that emotional energy
Right.
in a way that's both productive and beneficial
Mm-hmm.
for your overall well-being.
Right.
The key with self-regulation is that it's an ongoing practice.
Okay.
It's something you're constantly working on and refining as you go.
Right.
But the more you do it,
Yeah.
the more natural it becomes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got self-awareness and self-regulation down.
Go.
Now we're getting to the heart.
Yeah.
Of what drives us, motivation. I love that our source dives a bit deeper than just saying set goals and achieve them.
Totally.
You know, it's about finding that
Yeah.
inner drive and resilience
Mhm.
that keeps you going even when things get tough.
You hit the nail on the head.
Right.
This section goes beyond just like setting any old goals.
Yeah.
It's about getting crystal clear on what you want to achieve.
Okay.
And making those goals as specific as possible.
Right.
And it's not just about the what, but the why.
So instead of just aiming for that promotion,
Right.
because it sounds good,
Yeah.
you're figuring out why that promotion matters to you
Mhm.
on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it about having a bigger impact on the company? Is it about using your skills to make a difference in the world?
It makes a huge difference.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're connected to your why,
Yeah.
you tap into like a much stronger source of motivation. It's no longer just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about something bigger than yourself.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
Even when we're crystal clear on our goals
Hmm.
and deeply connected to our why,
Sure.
we all hit roadblocks, right?
Of course.
Life happens.
Life happens.
So how does EQ help us
Good question.
build that resilience?
Well, our source emphasizes the importance of gratitude.
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking,
Yeah.
what does gratitude have to do with resilience?
Right. Exactly.
But hear me out.
Yeah.
When you actively focus on what you're grateful for,
Yeah.
even small things,
Right?
it shifts your perspective.
Okay.
It helps you see the good
Mm-hmm.
amidst the challenges
Okay.
and reminds you of what's truly important.
That's a really great point.
Yeah.
It's like when you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
but then you see a beautiful sunset
Right.
or get a surprise text from a friend,
Yeah.
and suddenly things don't seem so bad anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
Gratitude is a powerful tool for building resilience.
Right.
And resilience is essential for staying motivated
Okay.
when the going gets tough.
That makes sense.
We've covered 3 key components of EQ now.
Okay.
What's next on our deep dive?
Well, our source goes on to emphasize the importance of empathy, especially when it comes to building strong relationships.
Empathy is all about stepping outside of your own experience
Okay.
and truly understanding
Yeah.
the emotions and perspectives of others.
Okay.
It's about putting yourself in their shoes.
Okay, but how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, be more empathetic,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually make that happen.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It takes effort and practice.
Yeah.
Our source highlights active listening as
Yeah.
one of the most important skills
Okay.
for developing empathy.
Active listening. That sounds simple enough, but I think we're all guilty of, like
That-
zoning out or thinking about what we're going to say next. Yeah.
When someone else is talking.
It happens to the best of us.
Right.
But with active listening,
Yeah.
you're truly present in the conversation.
Okay.
You're paying attention to what the other person is saying, both their words and their body language,
Cool.
and making them feel truly heard and understood.
So it's not just about waiting for your turn to talk.
Yeah.
It's about really absorbing
Right, exactly.
what the other person's communicating.
Yeah,
I can see how that would make someone feel valued and respected.
exactly. Active listening is a powerful way to build rapport
Right.
and create a deeper connection with someone.
Okay.
But our source goes a step further
Okay.
and emphasizes the importance of perspective taking.
Okay. That's where you really try to see the world
Yeah.
through the other person's eyes.
Mhm.
even if their perspective is totally different from your own.
Precisely.
Right.
And it's not about agreeing with them
Right.
or condoning their actions.
It's about understanding why they might feel or behave
Oh.
a certain way.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Are there any other techniques our source mentions for building empathy?
Yes. It also suggests asking genuine questions,
Okay.
not just to gather information,
Right.
but to show genuine curiosity about the other person's thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
Right.
It's about making them feel seen and heard.
Okay, so we've covered self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and empathy.
Right.
What's the fifth and final component of EQ?
That would be social skills.
Social skills.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes people think of emotional intelligence as this like touchy-feely concept,
Yeah.
but social skills are where EQ really gets put into action.
Absolutely. This section in our source gets into the practical applications
Okay.
of emotional intelligence
Right.
in areas like communication, conflict resolution,
Yeah.
and even leadership. It's not just about being nice
Right.
or outgoing.
Right.
It's about using your EQ to effectively navigate social situations and build strong relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So how does EQ come into play in communication?
Yeah.
I mean, we all communicate every day.
Right, exactly.
But I'm guessing there's more to it than just talking.
Right.
There definitely is.
Yeah.
Think about all the miscommunications and misunderstandings that happen every day.
Yeah.
A lot of that boils down to, like, a lack of emotional intelligence.
So it's not just about what you say,
Right.
but how you say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone with high EQ is going to be more aware of their tone of voice, their body language,
Right.
and the overall impact their words are having on the other person.
Right.
They're also going to be better listeners,
Right.
which we already talked about as
Right.
being crucial for empathy.
Right. So active listening is key here as well. It's not just about expressing yourself.
Right.
It's about truly understanding the other person's message.
Yes.
This is making me think about all the times I've probably completely misread a situation because I wasn't paying close enough attention to those nonverbal cues.
It happens. We've all been there.
Right.
But the more you practice those EQ skills, the better you'll become at reading those subtle signals
Okay.
and communicating in a way that's clear, compassionate, and effective.
So communication is one aspect of social skills. What about conflict resolution? I feel like that's an area where emotions can really run high.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Conflict is inevitable in any relationship,
Yeah.
but the way we handle conflict
Right.
is what makes all the difference.
So someone with high EQ is going to be better at keeping their cool.
Exactly. In a heated argument.
They're less likely to react defensively.
Okay.
Or let their emotions, like, escalate the situation.
Instead, they'll use their self-awareness
Okay.
to manage their own feeling
Right.
and their empathy
Yeah.
to try and understand where the other person's coming from.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I can already see how mastering those first four components of EQ
Right.
would make you much more effective at navigating conflict.
Absolutely.
Are there any specific techniques our source recommends
Sure.
for conflict resolution?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of staying calm,
Okay.
listening actively to the other
Yeah.
person's perspective,
Right.
and finding a solution that works
Yeah.
for both parties.
So it's not about winning or losing. It's about finding a win-win.
Conflict can actually be an opportunity
Oh.
for growth and deeper understanding
Right.
if you approach it with the right mindset and skills.
This is fascinating. Okay, so we've covered communication and conflict resolution.
Right.
What about leadership? I'm curious how EQ plays a role in that.
Leadership and emotional intelligence are like...
Deeply intertwined.
Okay.
Think about the best leaders you've encountered.
Okay.
What qualities did they possess?
Well, they were inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
motivating,
Uh-huh.
and genuinely cared about the people they led.
Yes.
They weren't just focused on results.
Right.
They're focused on building strong relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are all hallmarks of a leader with high EQ.
Right.
They're able to create a positive and supportive work environment
Okay.
where people feel valued and empowered to contribute their best work.
It's about creating a team where everyone feels like they're working together towards a common goal.
Precisely.
Right.
And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
A leader with high EQ can tap into, like, the collective intelligence and creativity of their team and achieve truly remarkable things.
This is all so insightful. So we've covered the 5 core components of EQ as laid out in our source.
Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
It's amazing
how interconnected they all are.
They really are.
Yeah.
Each component builds upon the others.
Right.
And when you develop all 5, you unlock a whole new level of personal and professional effectiveness.
This has been an incredible start to our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Lots to unpack.
But there's so much more to explore.
Yeah.
Ready to keep diving?
Absolutely. Let's keep going. Absolutely. Let's keep going. One thing that really stands out to me in this material is the emphasis on actionable techniques for, actually developing each of these EQ components. It's not just theory. It's about giving you practical tools you can use right away.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Yeah. So much of what we've read and heard about EQ focuses on the what.
Right.
But this really gets into the how. It's like a training manual for your emotional intelligence.
I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And it starts with, those foundational techniques for boosting self-awareness.
Right. Things like journaling. The material mentions that as a great way to uncover those deeper emotional patterns that we might not even be aware of.
Think of it as a sort of emotional inventory.
Okay.
You're taking stock of your feelings throughout the day.
Right.
Noticing what triggered them, how you reacted, and perhaps even exploring alternative ways you could have responded.
I'm already seeing how powerful that could be. It's like shining a light on those blind spots that can sabotage our interactions with others.
It's amazing what you can learn about yourself simply by taking the time to reflect, on your emotional experiences.
Yeah.
And it's not just about journaling.
Right.
Our source also suggests mindfulness practices.
Okay.
Like meditation and deep breathing.
I've heard so much about the benefits of mindfulness.
Yeah.
But I've always struggled with meditation.
Okay.
It feels like every time I try to quiet my mind, it just races even faster.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Meditation can be tricky at first.
Right.
But it does get easier with practice.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be about achieving a state of complete emptiness.
So what's the goal then?
Think of mindfulness as a way to develop a more detached and observant relationship with your thoughts and feelings. It's like you're stepping back and watching those thoughts and emotions flow by without getting swept away by them.
That's a great way to put it. Instead of being at the mercy of your emotions, you're learning to ride the waves, so to speak.
Okay.
And that ties back to self-regulation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mindfulness gives you that space to pause and choose a more skillful response rather than just reacting impulsively.
I'm starting to see how all of these techniques work together to build a stronger foundation for emotional intelligence.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like each skill reinforces the others.
Exactly. Yeah. And that brings us back to feedback.
Yeah.
We touched on this earlier.
Yeah.
But it's worth emphasizing how valuable it can be.
Right.
Even if it's, a little uncomfortable at times.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us avoid asking for feedback because we're afraid of what we might hear.
Yeah.
But the truth is, feedback is a gift.
It really is.
Right.
It gives you a glimpse into how your behavior is impacting others.
Right.
And that's invaluable information for growth.
It's like having a personal coach who can point out areas where you can improve.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be formal feedback either.
Well,
it can be as simple as asking a friend, hey, how did you perceive me in that meeting?
Exactly. Just opening up that dialogue can lead to some amazing insights.
Okay, so we've got our self-awareness toolbox stocked with journaling, mindfulness, and feedback.
Gotcha.
But what about self-regulation?
Right.
Our source had some great tips for that as well, right?
Yes, it really dives into practical strategies for, managing those emotions in the moment.
Okay.
Remember the count to 10 technique?
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
I've definitely used that one myself, especially when I feel like I'm about to say something I'll regret.
It's a simple but effective way to create a little space between the stimulus and your response.
Okay.
That space allows you to access your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thought, and choose a more skillful response.
So it's like hitting the pause button on your emotional autopilot.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about interrupting that knee-jerk reaction and giving yourself a chance to assess the situation more objectively.
Right. Okay. And then there's reframing.
Yes.
Which we talked about earlier.
Reframing is so powerful.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see how that simple shift in perspective can make a huge difference
for sure
in how you experience a situation.
Right.
Instead of viewing a setback as a failure, you can reframe it as an opportunity for growth and learning.
Precisely. It's not about denying reality.
Right.
It's about choosing a more empowering and productive way to view it.
Okay.
And our source also emphasizes the importance of finding healthy outlets for processing your emotions.
So things like exercise, creative hobbies, or spending time in nature. I know those things always help me feel more grounded and centered.
Exactly. It's about channeling that emotional energy in a way that's both productive and beneficial for your overall well-being.
Right.
Think of it as like emotional self-care.
I love that.
Okay, so we're getting a handle on our emotions, but what about staying motivated when the going gets tough?
Yeah.
This section in our source really resonated with me because it goes beyond just setting goals and checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about cultivating that inner drive and resilience that keeps you moving forward even when you face challenges.
You're spot on.
Right.
The source emphasizes the importance of setting, like clear, specific goals.
Okay.
It's not enough to just say, I want to be more successful.
Right.
You need to define what success actually looks like for you.
Right. It's about getting crystal clear on what you want to achieve and breaking down those big, ambitious goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly.
I can see how that would make it feel less overwhelming and more achievable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like creating a roadmap to success.
Right.
And then once you have those clear goals in place, the source reminds us to connect with our why.
Ah, the why.
Yes.
This is where things get really interesting.
It is.
It's about understanding the deeper meaning behind your goals.
Yes.
What's the driving force behind your desire to achieve them?
It's about tapping into a source of motivation that goes beyond just, external rewards or recognition. It's about connecting to something that truly matters to you on a deeper level.
It's like the difference between wanting to win a race because you want the trophy and wanting to win because you're passionate about the sport, pushing yourself to your limits.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And when you're connected to your why, you'll find that you're much more resilient in the face of challenges.
Okay.
Speaking of resilience, our source also emphasizes the importance of gratitude.
Gratitude. I'm curious how that ties into motivation.
Think about it this way. When you focus on what you're grateful for, it shifts your perspective.
Okay.
It helps you see the good, even when things are tough.
So it's like a mental reset button that helps you stay positive and motivated even when you hit roadblocks.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's a powerful antidote to negativity and discouragement.
Right.
And here's the interesting part.
Okay.
Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can actually increase your resilience over time.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So simply by taking a few minutes each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, you can actually boost your ability to bounce back from challenges.
It can.
I'm starting to see why gratitude is such a key component of emotional intelligence.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
And it ties back to that idea of reframing.
Right.
When you practice gratitude, you're consciously choosing to focus on the positive, even when things aren't going your way.
Right.
And that can make a world of difference in your overall well-being and your ability to achieve your goals.
Okay, so we've covered self-awareness, self-regulation, and motivation.
Yes.
What's next on our EQ journey?
Well, our source goes on to emphasize the importance of empathy, particularly when it comes to building strong and fulfilling relationships.
Empathy is such a crucial skill.
It is.
But I think it's also one of the most misunderstood.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's just about being nice or feeling sorry for someone.
Right.
But it's so much more than that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Empathy is about truly understanding and connecting with another person's emotional experience. It's about seeing the world through their eyes.
Right.
Even if their perspective is different from your own.
So it's about putting aside your own biases and judgments and really trying to step into their shoes.
Exactly. And our source provides some fantastic techniques for developing empathy.
Okay.
One of the most important is active listening.
Right.
Which we've already touched on.
Right. So active listening is about being fully present in the conversation.
Yes.
Paying attention to both the verbal and nonverbal cues, and making the other person feel truly heard and understood. It's about asking clarifying questions and reflecting back what you've heard to ensure you're on the same page.
You got it.
Right.
Active listening is a powerful way to build rapport and create a space for genuine connection.
Okay.
But our source goes beyond just listening.
Okay.
It also emphasizes the importance of perspective taking.
Okay, that's where you really try to see the world through the other person's eyes, even if you don't agree with them or condone their actions.
Precisely.
Right.
It's about understanding why they might feel or behave a certain way based on their unique experiences and perspectives.
Okay.
And it's not about condoning bad behavior.
That's right.
It's about cultivating a deeper level of understanding and compassion.
I'm starting to see how powerful this can be.
Right.
It's not about changing who you are or compromising your values. It's about expanding your capacity for understanding and connection.
Exactly.
Right.
And our source also suggests asking genuine questions as a way to, like, cultivate empathy.
Right.
Not just to gather information, but to show genuine curiosity about the other person's thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
Right.
It's about making them feel seen and heard.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a simple but profound way to connect with someone.
It is.
On a deeper level.
Yeah.
It's about showing them that you truly care about what they have to say.
And that's where real connection happens.
Right.
When you feel truly seen and heard, it creates a sense of trust and intimacy that can transform relationships.
Right.
Okay, we've covered 4 key components of EQ: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and empathy.
What's the 5th and final component on our EQ journey?
That would be social skills.
Ah, social skills.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
It is.
It feels like we're moving from the internal world of our own emotions to the external world of how we interact with others.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Social skills are all about applying those EQ muscles to navigate social situations effectively and build strong, healthy relationships.
So it's not just about being extroverted or charismatic.
Right.
I mean, I know plenty of outgoing people who aren't necessarily emotionally intelligent.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Right.
Social skills are about much more than just, being the life of the party.
Right.
It's about using your emotional intelligence to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts peacefully, and work collaboratively towards shared goals.
I'm starting to see how all of those other EQ components we've talked about play a role here.
They do.
If you're not self-aware, you're not going to be able to read social cues effectively.
Right.
If you can't regulate your emotions, you're going to struggle to navigate conflict constructively.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like a symphony where all of the instruments are working together to create a beautiful piece of music.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So where do we begin with social skills?
Right.
This section in our source is pretty extensive.
It is.
So I'm curious, what key points stood out to you?
Well, one of the most important aspects of social skills is communication.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about speaking clearly or using proper grammar.
Right.
I'm talking about communicating with emotional intelligence.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What does that look like in practice?
It's about being mindful of your tone of voice, your body language, and the overall impact your words are having on the other person.
Right.
It's about choosing your words carefully and being aware of how your message is being received.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it also involves active listening, which we've already talked about.
Right.
It's about truly understanding the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with them.
I can see how that would be crucial for avoiding misunderstandings and building strong relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Effective communication is the foundation of any healthy relationship.
Okay, so communication is one key aspect of social skills.
Right.
What about conflict resolution?
Yeah.
I feel like that's an area where emotions can really run high.
Sure.
And it's easy to let things get out of control.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
Conflict is inevitable in any relationship.
Yeah.
But the way we handle conflict is what determines whether it tears us apart or brings us closer together.
So how can we use emotional intelligence
The question.
to navigate conflict more effectively?
Well, our source emphasizes the importance of staying calm and avoiding those knee-jerk reactions that can escalate the situation.
All right.
It's about remembering that conflict is not about winning or losing.
Right.
It's about finding a solution that works for everyone involved.
So it's about shifting from a competitive mindset
Exactly.
to a collaborative one.
And that requires empathy.
Right.
It's about trying to understand the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with them.
I can see how that would be challenging in the heat of the moment.
For sure.
But I can also see how it would be incredibly powerful.
It is.
If you could pull it off.
It takes practice.
Right.
But the more you work on those EQ muscles, the better you'll become at navigating conflict constructively.
This is fascinating.
Good.
Okay, so we've covered communication and conflict resolution. What about leadership? I'm curious how EQ plays a role in that.
Leadership and emotional intelligence are deeply intertwined.
Right.
Think about the most effective leaders you've encountered.
Okay.
What qualities did they possess?
Well, they were inspiring, motivating, and genuinely cared about the people they led.
Yes.
They weren't just focused on results. They were focused on building strong relationships and creating a positive work environment.
Those are all hallmarks of a leader with high EQ.
Right.
They're able to create a culture of trust and collaboration.
Okay.
Where people feel valued and empowered to contribute their best work.
It's about creating a team where everyone feels like they're working together towards a common goal.
Precisely.
Right.
And that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
A leader with high EQ can tap into the collective intelligence and creativity of their team and achieve truly remarkable things.
Yeah. This has been such an insightful exploration of social skills.
It has.
It's amazing how all of these EQ components we've been discussing come together in our interactions with others.
They really do.
Yeah.
It's like a complex tapestry.
Yeah.
Where each thread contributes to the overall beauty and strength of the fabric.
I love that analogy.
Good.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
A lot.
We've explored the 5 core components of EQ.
Yes.
Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
They have.
And we've even gotten into some practical techniques for developing each of these areas.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to uncover.
I'm ready for more. What else does our source have in store for us?
Okay, so we've covered the 5 core components of EQ.
Right.
And a ton of practical techniques for developing each one. But the material you sent also gets into something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
The connection between emotional intelligence and the workplace.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
For so long,
the
focus in the professional world was almost exclusively on hard skills and technical expertise.
Right.
But more and more, we're seeing a shift towards recognizing the importance of, like, soft skills.
Yeah.
And EQ is at the top of that list.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Imagine a workplace where everyone is, like, self-aware, empathetic, and skilled at managing their emotions.
Right.
That sounds like a dream.
It really does.
Right.
And studies have shown that companies with emotionally intelligent leaders and employees tend to have higher morale, lower turnover rates, and even better financial performance.
So it's not just good for individuals. Right. It's good for the bottom line, too.
It is.
I'm starting to see why EQ is becoming such a sought-after skill in the job market.
Absolutely. Employers are realizing that technical skills can only take you so far.
Right.
It's the people with strong EQ who are able to build relationships, navigate conflict effectively, and lead with inspiration and empathy.
This is making me think about, like, my own career goals.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start focusing more on developing my EQ alongside those technical skills.
It's never too late to start.
That's encouraging.
It is.
So what specific techniques does our source suggest for, like, incorporating EQ into the workplace?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of creating, you know, a culture of emotional intelligence within organizations. This involves, you know, providing training and development opportunities for employees, promoting open communication and feedback, and recognizing and rewarding emotionally intelligent behavior.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel safe to express their emotions, ask for help when they need it, and work together collaboratively towards shared goals.
Exactly. And it starts with leadership.
Okay.
Leaders who model emotional intelligence create a ripple effect throughout the organization.
I'm imagining a leader who is not only competent, but also compassionate, understanding, and able to connect with their team on a human level.
That's the ideal.
Right.
And it's achievable.
Yeah.
It starts with self-awareness
right.
and a commitment to continuous growth.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has been.
We've unpacked so much valuable information about emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
From the 5 core components to practical techniques for developing each one,
right.
and even exploring its impact in the workplace.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has.
And I think the key takeaway here is that emotional intelligence is not a destination.
Okay.
It's a journey.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's something we can continuously work on and improve throughout our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Right.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of the information we've covered today, just pick one small thing you can start doing differently.
Maybe it's taking 5 minutes each day to practice mindfulness.
Right.
Or making a conscious effort to listen more attentively in your conversation.
Some small steps taken consistently can lead to incredible transformation.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
I
want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Right.
Which of these 5 EQ components, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, or social skills, resonates most strongly with you right now?
And what's one small step you can take today to start strengthening that area of your emotional intelligence?
Remember, you have the power to create positive change in your own life